Hi and welcome to my channel. My name is Magnus, and this is part 2 of the Smart Console. The part 1, well, um, I ramble too much and it's starting to get quite long, so I will cut it in multiple parts. So let's go in. Security policy. Well, security policy is the rule base of your firewalls. So if you press here, security policy, you will see here, this is your policy package. And you can have multiple policy package. And this can be assigned to different firewalls. So you see here in the demo mode, we have two. So we have a corporate policy and we have a branch office policy. The two policies, they can actually have different, they are controlling different firewalls. So you need to assign a policy to a specific gateway. And you can see this under manage policies and layers. And here you can see which targets this specific policy has. And you can see which specific gateways or specific firewalls are attached to each policy. And you can do this by, for example, clicking here, edit. And then you can select installation targets. So here you can see that it's a specific gateway called branch office that has this policy package. And you can add more gateways. So you can add like all these remote gateways. So they will have the same policy as this branch office. This is a demo environment, so we're not going to change it so much today. Let's jump back into the corporate policy. What you see here is the policy itself. This is the rule base, and these yellow things, they are section titles. They have no other meaning than an administrative, so it's easier for you to organize rules. And in Checkpoint, the rule set is from top to bottom. So you go from rule 1 until rule 14. And the first rule is the one that counts. So these yellow parts are only so you're able to sort your rules in a more efficient way. So they have no function, so to say. Here you have the bar. So this will expand all the sessions, and this will collapse all the sections. So let's expand it. As you notice quite fast, you have a lot of different fields. There are actually some hidden fields here. So if you right click on this blue bar or black, I don't know which color it is, you can add hit counts, you can add comments, and hit counts is something that you should have, and comments is something that you should have as well. Let's start with the first rule. What does it actually say? Well, it's rule number 1. It has 26,000 hits, and here you can see that the first hit was a specific date, and the last hit was a specific date as well. This hit count, you can change how many months you want this to be going back. So this is a good way to clean up rules. If you see rules that has no hits, well, check when the last hit count was and maybe delete it, because people are very eager to add new rules, but they are very bad in removing rules. It's very few people that actually order a decommission of a firewall rule. The next field here is the name, and this is a free text field. You can put in whatever. I would avoid to put in any special characters. Like in Sweden, we have special characters Å, Ä, Ö. Don't use them. They will complicate your upgrades. So try to keep it in English, or at least remove your special characters and replace them with normal English characters if you can. This field, the source, well, the source within Checkpoint, it can be multiple things. Normally when you think about firewalls, you think about IP addresses. Well, new firewalls, they don't only care about IP addresses, they need to be more flexible than that. So in this case, this is an AD group. So all the users within this Active Directory group are able to reach this destination on a number of ports. Within here, you cannot see who is member of this group, and this should point to specific users or group. Normally, this is not an internal user group. This is an LDAP group, but this is a demo, so we cannot really see the users or the LDAP. I will show you a production version later on, maybe in a later video where we really go into depth of what you can do with Checkpoint. And this can be this is called an identity rule, and it can be based on many different things, but normally you add a specific AD group. I wouldn't recommend you to put specific users. Take a AD group and then let the service desk or a dedicated system to manage the members of that group. Here you see the destination is the firewall itself, and if you hover above it, you see that it's the first office gateway and you see the IP address. VPN is if you have a VPN community, if you want to limit something to a specific community, that it should not be able to go outside the VPN. Normally this field is put to any, as long as it's not a specific VPN tunnel that you want to run it through, like this rule. And you see here in service and application, this is your ports, and this is a group. So this group include multiple ports. You can add more ports if you like. So you can add like port 80. Avoid port 80, but you can. And then this group is updated, meaning if it's present anywhere else, it will be updated everywhere. Content, well, for example, for DLP. So this way you can limit specific files or type of traffic. In most cases, this will be any. And then you have the action bar. And default within Checkpoint, the action is drop. So you need to change it. Normally you change it to accept because someone is asking you to open something for them. But you can have different things as well. So you can have like ask the user. Are the user aware that they are not allowed to surf on specific websites? Then you can have like a corporate policy note saying to the user, you are going to something that is not within the corporate policy. Do you want to bypass this? Or you can add like an inform, like please be aware when you do this. So the user will get up a notification in their web browser. So this requires that it's more or less a web traffic, because if you put like an ask on an FTP transfer, it will not work. It's if it's towards the internet on HTTP. If I'm wrong, please correct me, but I haven't seen it in anything else than in web surfing. When you have selected your action that you want to take, you can have multiple drop actions. You can have like discard, reject, etc. But in this case, we're running accept. And track is if you want to log the traffic. And within firewalls, you should log all traffic. That's my way of doing it, at least. And I I mean, the only reason why you would not log the traffic is if it's something that is very sensitive, like your client's access to banks. Maybe you shouldn't access that. Maybe you shouldn't log that. And you can exclude specific services like healthcare, etc. But in general, log everything and make sure to have enough disks on your management stations. And this is partly why you should have it in VMware. It's easier to add disk to a virtual server than to buy additional storage to a physical server. The storage on a virtual device is more expensive than a physical one, but it's easier. And this is also the reason why Checkpoint allows you to add multiple log servers. So you can have not only a management server, but you can have a log server to take care of all your logs. If you have a big company, you will have a lot of logs. This installed field, that's the policy targets that we did talk about within the policy. You can specify here as well if you want some rules only to be installed on a specific gateway. So you can select all your gateways here as well. I would recommend still to group the different policies if you have that need. Meaning if you want to have all the remote gateways to have the same policy, instead of doing it here, do a different policy package and just install different policy package. If you have the same policy everywhere, well, then it's no need to have it installed on. There is some valid points when you use the installed on. And last, then it's the comments. And the comments is something that has been present for a long time. So if you log into any Checkpoint installation, more or less you will put like the ticket ID, the date a rule was added, and so on. When it comes to R80.40, they added this nice information field below. So by default, you see who created the rule when it was created, if it has an expiration time, and when it talks to expiration time, then you need to add a time. So you can have time here if the rule is only valid a specific date, or if you want to limit the rule to a specific date when it should deactivate itself. So you can add a new time object. So you can have like a time period, and then you use end, and you put the date. So then you can have T as in time, end 2020 0612. Sorry. We need to move it forward at least one day. So, but we move it forward too. And now this rule, okay. We need to shorten it. Let's remove end. Let's try. Now you have a time object here, and it will be a little marking here. Later on, I will show you to it. But this part was not present in the older versions. And yes, so you know, if you put in ticket ID and ticket requester, etc. here, if you do the show policy package on a website, you will not see this information. You need to click it out. So you need to like highlight the rules more. So if you want to do like a printout in PDF, etc. on your rule base, I would recommend you to use the comments. And it's also easier to search it. I don't know if this will change in the future release, but I would still put in the comments within the comment field. That's the best practice, so to say. You see that it's more information here as well, so like details. And when it comes to hit counts within checkpoint and details, so to say, the hit counts is for the complete rule. It doesn't say if or when a specific object or service was hit. So it's the complete rule, not a specific object or a service that was in use. So if, for example, we have this HTTPS and it's never used, we will not see it in the hit count. So one way you can do this is to split up the rule in multiple ways, meaning you add a rule above and you add the ports that you think are used and see if the hit counts go up. You can also use the logs and check. If I press here and do the logs, I would see the logs for the last days. I don't know if this works in the demo environment. Let's see. Yeah, it's working. You can of course pull up and down, etc. I would recommend you to have a quite large screen, minimum 24 inch. It's very hard to work with checkpoint on only a laptop. But if you mark this, you can see all the logs that is present for this specific line of rule. If we add new service and applications, it will show the dropped rules from before. So checkpoint is smart enough to add that service, so you see that, oh, okay, I added something that was blocked before, and now it will work after. And as you see, the rule is presented with a name. So this Paul Johnson is included in this AD group for administrators. So within the rule, it will be populated with the identity of the users and also of the server or the laptop ID. So it will add more identity here. It will add the laptop name, etc. If you didn't see, I just double click the rules, the logs, and you see a more detailed of all the logs, meaning you see when the policy was installed. No, sorry, when the log was entered, which blade, what the source was, source port, the destination here, destination zone local. It can be external or local, and that's regarding the interface, if it's a local interface on the firewall itself. And here you see that the incoming traffic, that is this arrow, it means that the traffic came in on interface 0. And you see the destination is the corporate gateway. So this is your object name, and this is the real IP address that the traffic is going to. Because the object name is only a free text field. You can put in whatever there. And when it comes to more, here it can be like netting, etc. And here it's regarding security zones. I don't build my own rules in security zones, but it's possible to do it. And you can of course see which rules it was matched, because this log detail you can take up from a different field, and then you can click here and it goes to this line. So if I press here, it will highlight this line, and this is the rule it was hitted. And if you noticed, you see a tree here, a number 3, and you see that it's a little pen here, because when I added the object HTTP, I locked the rule, so no one else than me can edit this at the same time, and I need to publish my change before it's visible for other administrators that can log in and see these rules. So if I publish, then I can put a description, and this can be, for example, your ticket ID or similar, or something that explaining what you did do. So if I publish, then my changes within the rule base will be active on the management server. It will not be active on the gateway itself, because I need to install the policy on the firewall. So the rule base, you can work with it, you can do a lot of changes, and you can edit it back and forward without worrying that something is happening on the gateway side or in the production traffic. It will only be activate when you do install policy. And then you need to select the policy packet, in this case the corporate policy, and you see which type you want to install, and you see which targets will be getting this rule. And then you press install. When it comes to this one, I will recommend you to do this one, meaning if not all the members within the cluster is up and running, it will not install a new policy. So you don't have different versions on a gateway if the member comes back up again and you have a failover again. Then you will have a situation that is not recommended. This is something that you turn off when you do upgrades, because then you will have different versions on the cluster members, and it will fail to install on a cluster member that is not the correct version, so to say. But in this case, just install the policy, and well, policy installation is apparently not available in demo, so I will show you that in a production in a later video as well. So just do cancel here. This video is getting quite long as well, so let's cut it here, and in the next video we will talk about netting, this part. So I see you in the next one. Take care.